What's up? I'm hand driving because I always time things wrong. So give me a second. How's everybody doing today? We're good. There. Okay. We are side dressing corn. Putting a little anhydrous on. I'll show you what we've got going on back here. Running our 2510H high-speed anhydrous applicator. Pulling the doubles right now on the 8RX. It's a nice rig. We cover ground fast. We're going fast. 9 miles an hour right now. We're 37.5 feet wide, so not nearly as fast as what we're covering ground with the 60-foot planter, but for what we're doing, we're going fast. Alright, let's get you guys in your little holder here and see what we got for questions. Get our chat set up. I assume you can hear me. How are the rollers and chains on your tracks wearing? Do you see a normal pattern on all 4 models? Well, I don't know exactly what you mean by chains. The belts, maybe, but yeah, everything is really good. I am so glad that we did not have to break in this tractor and a new planter in the same year, and that I already kind of had this tractor broken in and established and knew what to look for and what to work on and how to, not how to adjust it, to have it adjusted. So there wasn't much we really had to do to it. So I have been keeping an eye on stuff, watching things, but we've got it adjusted right, and the tracks run good. I wouldn't say I see a ton of wear on them. We've kind of skimmed over the guide lugs a little bit where they've gotten hard, which is good. They're not sticky anymore. They're not wearing too fast. Yeah, everything is good on the tracks, on the tractor. Well, welcome. Bad day, man. Alright. Yeah. Hello from Nebraska. Hello from Greece. Welcome. What's up from Ohio? Can you show what buttons you hit when you get to the end? Yeah, next time we'll do that. What's up from Mid-Michigan? Hi. Thank you for your videos. You're welcome. Eastern Iowa, Georgia. Welcome. Can hear you. Good. Upstate New York. When you're planting so early, what is the reason that you don't seed shallower? Yeah. So my theory with planting early is it was cold, right? Well, it wasn't necessarily cold when we're planting, but when it's the 12th of April, you know you're going to get some cold weather yet. And what I don't want to have happen is for that seed to go through a lot of dramatic temperature changes. And so the deeper I put it, the farther away from the soil surface and the air temperatures that I can get it, the less dramatic those temperature changes are going to be. It's going to be a little bit more consistent temperatures. And so I always like to seed deep. I tend to seed deeper than I wouldn't say deeper than most people, but deeper than traditional a little bit anyway, or beyond the deeper side. I don't know if Dad really thinks that I planted too deep or not, but he's prodded me a couple of times saying, "Oh, I had it 1 notch too deep," where we had a little bit of crusting issues and stuff. But most all of our corn came up really well, and our stand is really good. And in my opinion, the deeper the better. In good soils where you don't have to deal with soil crusting, I don't know that you can plant it too deep. Planters aren't capable of planting it too deep. You can go 2.5, 3 inches deep, and it'll be fine. We deal with crusting, and so the deeper you plant it, the longer it takes to come up by a day or two. It's not going to change it that much, but it does sort of make it harder for the corn to get out of the ground if we get crusting and stuff. And so if you plant a little shallower, that helps, but planting shallow, once you get an 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches or shallower, that comes with its own sets of problems and shallow root systems and other issues. So 1 3/4 is the absolute minimum, but I almost always shoot for 2, and I wouldn't be afraid of 2 1/4. Curious if you had the rock problem with the plastic closing wheels, you think the holes in the cast ones make the problem worse? No, what I think makes the problem worse is that in-furrow nozzle. I did not have the problem as bad with the plastic ones on the old planter, but what I think caused more of the problem was the fact that once the rocks got in there, they got caught. They couldn't roll out because there was that in-furrow nozzle hanging down that bracket that kind of held them in there from the front side, so they were stuck. That's what made it worse. Hopefully staggering them will help some, but we're also probably looking at getting rid of those in-furrow nozzles. Now we may replace them with a different style that's not going to really help the problem, but yeah, I don't know, we'll see. Northwest Indiana, hello. Canada, hello. Watching from Sweden, hello. Norway. It's crazy. You guys are from all over the world. It's amazing. Would have been better to have done beans than corn early. Nope. Nope, not at all. My corn looks great. The corn that we replanted was planted the 27th of April. That's not late. That's not early. That's normal. That's when we plant corn. Like, that's... Nope, we did both, and I'm happy with the stands of both. The beans actually took a little bit longer to come up and be established to where we were comfortable with them. Phil and I went and looked around this morning at a bunch of bean fields that were questionable, but I think we're in good shape. We're not going to replant anything. Wanting through ads to watch a live stream with YouTube. I'm sorry, Eric. I would say that I don't have any control over it, but I do tell it that I want to monetize the videos because that's what makes this worth my while, so I am sorry. I hope it's not excessive. I cannot control how many or what. Don't planters go like 3 or 4 inches max? I would be surprised if you could get a planter to go much over 3 inches deep. Maybe a little bit, but not much. Now I was spraying the corn yesterday. Will it hurt the replant seeds growing up through the sprayed soil? No. It will not. The gramoxone that we sprayed to kill the corn is a contact herbicide. It has to come in contact with the foliage in order to kill it. In fact, we're working right across the road from that field now. Well, kind of. There's woods in between us. But when I was driving past it, that's dead. It is brown, toasty. It's amazing. I was going to go look at it later this afternoon and show you what 24 hours did to that corn. But no, it is labeled for that application for pre-emergent, either pre-plant or pre-emergent, which means post-planting before the corn emerges, you're allowed to spray that gramoxone on it with no ill effects to the growing crop. So, nope, not going to hurt it at all. How long can you go without appreciable rain before crop damage? Define crop damage, right? Is it going to start knocking the top end off the yield here in a week? Maybe. Is it going to get real severe in 2 weeks? I don't know if I would say real severe, but different farming practices, tillage practices, crop rotation practices are all going to play into that, and how long each individual field can survive dry weather. The young plants don't need near as much moisture as more rapidly growing larger plants. They also don't have a bigger root system to be able to draw that moisture in from down deep and take it in real well. So I think we're okay for a while, but if we don't get rain in the next 2 weeks, yeah, it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt. The wheat is the big one, right? We need to rain on the wheat because it's getting ready to pollinate and fill out the kernels and stuff. And if we don't get rain in the next 2 weeks on that, it's screwed. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot the buttons. I will get it. All right. Remember the buttons. There's not much, but I will show you the buttons. Well, from Mexico, are you going to go for the full beard or stay with the rustic no shave look? It's probably going to get shaved. What's today? Today's Thursday. Oh, I was supposed to do it yesterday. I don't grow much of a beard. I shave twice a week. Sunday morning and Wednesday usually, and I forgot. So it's getting a little long. Yeah. My wife likes it like this, so it might stay until Sunday, but I don't know if I can handle it. Side undressing. Is that what it's titled? Did it autocorrect on me? Oh, that's not cool. We'll fix it when we're done. Nothing I can do about it now. I don't think. Maybe I can. I do have my iPad with me. Let's see. What did that say? No, it says side dressing corn live. I didn't type it wrong. Anyway. Curious, hindsight 2020, would you have broken your concrete pad into 2 pours to have more time for finishing? After I was done with it and I was cutting, really when I was cutting, it's like, man, I probably should have poured this twice or in 2 separate pours. That was a lot to tackle and take on for a bunch of amateurs that don't know what we're doing. I'm happy with it. It's fine. It's not perfect, but it's fine. And yeah, what I wish I would have done is had a little bit more space between the trucks so that last load wasn't sitting there for 45 minutes before we even started to unload it. That would have given us a little bit more time. I mean, it's fine. Yeah. It would not have hurt to break that up into 2 pours. I'm trying to avoid expansion joints though with foam. That's why I did it in 1, because I hate those half-inch foam strips that are in the middle of our concrete. Like in my seed warehouse, I have one right in the middle of the floor that I hate. We got them in the shop at the farm that are 30 years old and they're deteriorated. Now there's just a giant hole, crack. I don't like those. Dang it, I forgot again. Show you the buttons. I'm gonna remember. I promise I'm gonna remember. The longer I don't remember, the longer you have to stick around the live stream though. Just watching your video spraying the corn, then I got a notification of you live. Hope all goes well this year. Thank you. Yeah, that gramoxone is a little bit, I'd never used it before. I would use with extreme caution. And I'm pretty sure I know you have to have a restricted use pesticide license to get it, so I don't think they'll give you any. Keep the beard? Yeah, I don't know. There's talk of this being an El Nino year. Do you know how this has affected you in previous years? I mean, I've heard that thrown around a lot. I don't remember specifically, no. I always thought it had a lot more to do with our winter weather than our summer weather, but I could be wrong. I don't know. Anyway, we're live, so I'm going to flip the camera around and show you what we're doing for a little while here. Flip it. There we go. I can hold it better this way. And I'm going to remember to show you the buttons when we get to the other end. So we are doing 3.5 feet because we're a 15 shank applicator here. We are not skipping and putting the rate half on the outsides. We're just going down every row with a normal standard rate, which means every row has a full rate of nitrogen on both sides of it. And so we shouldn't have that edge effect that we've seen in the past from putting a 1.5 on, which really means one row gets a 3/4 rate, the other row gets a 1.25. This should solve that problem. So our corn looks really good. I'm quite happy with the stand. Perfect, no. Pretty darn good for planted the 13th of April. Yeah, this corn's gonna be good. Like, this is one of our really good farms. You can kind of, this is some of the better stuff. This is the field just right over here, a couple of passes, where we did my soybean contest stuff last year. And we had some 86.7 bushel soybeans we pulled off of here, full round, like, it's just incredible. So, all right, we're almost to the end. These rows curve, ignore that. We're going down, click that button. Turn. We hit number 12 button here. Engage. We hit the bottom of the A button. Puts our bar down. And we click the foot switch. And then we bump this way, and it makes us go back to our normal speed. That's the buttons. That's it. It's not hard to do, which is why I don't have turn automation set up, because it's not hard to do. All right, let's flip you back over. and flip it around. That worked. Okay. Should I grow a beard until I'm... No, I'm not doing that poll because I don't care what you say. I mean, you can vote all you want. You don't get a say. Running the air in that cab. 83 degrees here in Kansas City today. Well, the air is on, but it is 60 degrees outside, so it's not hot. It's not warm. It was 60 when we started this field. How bad's the air filter after all the dust? Well, we're not really driving through the dust, right? Like, all right, do this again. Come on, flip. See those screens right there? That's our air intake for the air going into the engine through the air filters. That's not running in the dust. So it's only when we have a hard tailwind that it's running in the dust, and in this case the wind's blowing sideways enough that it doesn't really plug the air filters up. So I have not blown the air filter out once all spring. Let me see if I go to engine. Does it have an air filter? It does not. I thought maybe it would have an air filter plug gauge, but it does not. Anyway. So my point is that the dust is not terrible for the tractor. Oh, from Washington, D.C. Wow, yeah, you're a good person to watch. Oh, you the people in D.C., they need to learn something about farming, right? I'm kidding. Kind of. Well, from Massachusetts, missed the days of playing on the big green toys in Wisconsin. Cool. Probably too late for you, but the Zyway isn't clumpy if you turn the box over 24 hours before using. I was mad at that, and that's what the company told me. It made a big difference. Yeah, I have lots of issues with that Zyway. The fact that it's sludge and you can't get it out of the jugs is one of them. I did try, not 24 hours, but I did try when I knew I was going to be using some to bring the box over and flip it upside down, let it set for at least 10 or 15 minutes. Didn't help much. But man, that stuff, I shook and shook and shook. I dumped half of it out, put water in it, shook, and it was clumpy, not fun. And I still don't think that is the right application or the right way to apply something that has to be so specifically metered out, right? I don't have the ability to agitate it in my tank. I don't have the ability to meter it out at 15.2 fluid ounces per acre on the dot. Like it's not that precise of an application when we're doing starter fertilizer. So that's a pretty easy one for me to say this is not going to work. Phil decide, no bean replant, are still undecided. Phil and I went and looked at beans earlier today. You'll see. No, you won't see that in tomorrow's video because I didn't film any of it. So we went and looked at 4 or 5 different fields that were of concern when Phil looked at them on Monday, and we there are a few spots, small spots, that it wouldn't hurt to piece some beans in. But there's such small areas, and there are some actual beans there yet, that we have decided not to do any replants. Our stands are pretty good, and even in the thin spots where we were concerned, we would get out and take a tape measure and do some stand counts, and we were getting 90 to 100,000, and that's way more than enough. So, no replants, which is good. What's the next tractor? Another 8RX or an 8R? I have no idea. I would assume it will have tracks. Whether that's 8RX or 8RT, I don't know. Tractor is pretty low on the priority list right now, though. We have some other bigger equipment purchase needs that are well above tractor on that list. Namely a new sprayer, potentially a bean planter. There's always things to spend money on. I do know that. So, when did Deere move the air filter to under the hood? The air filters on the 8000 series tractors have been under the hood since the 8300s came out, since the mid-90s. They've been there forever. Yeah, maybe even before that, 4960s, or were they off to the side? Air filter's been under the hood forever. Hello from Sweden, hello from France. You're the first one in your area putting on side dress. I have not seen anybody else side dressing. There was, when I went to get a tank the other night and they were closed, there was a bunch of tanks waiting out front that had a guy's name on them, but I'm pretty sure he was still pre-plant. A lot of guys have been doing pre-plant, and that's not what we're doing. We're side dressing. So yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm first, which is good. I can beat the rush here a little bit. Sometimes when they're super busy, it's hard for them to keep up getting trucks in, getting it delivered on time in Sidedress. And so getting my stuff done and out of the way helps them with their supply issues, logistics. I get to use the big tanks that I want, not have to take any of the small ones. Makes me happy too. How far are you from Brian Brown? About 3.5 to 4 hours north. He's south of Columbus, and I'm in Michigan right now. So I did see Brian is coming up to Paul Martin and Sons for a field day that they're having here on June 8th, planting field day, because Brian's got their Porsche Avatar, and Paul Martin's is a Porsche dealer. That's where he got theirs from. That's only about 40 miles from here, a little under an hour drive, so we might try and make it there and talk to him, see how things are going. But yeah, Brian's a long ways. Knows what real work is like, what Nathan does, and I don't call what I do real work. Side conversations. Your planter tank decision, did you give up on the idea of putting on sulfur with Sidedress? Yeah, I did, and I kind of had thought about that for a while. Let me show you why I gave up on the idea of putting sulfur on Sidedress. So when I wanted to do that, my idea was a wide drop. I cannot wide drop this corn. It is way too small. You would get sulfur all over the plants, or you'd be putting it in the center of the row where it's not nearly as effective. I'd want to put it right on the row with a wide drop, but I can't wide drop this. Like, that was a good thought, but not practical. And so I gave up on that idea a while ago. Now, that said, I am going to, on a select fields and limited acres, have somebody come in and wide drop with a sprayer some of my corn late season to put a little extra shot of nitrogen on here. We'll throw some sulfur in with that to really push some stuff in my yield contest acres. So we're still working on figuring out how to get more sulfur out here. Hi from Italy. Here, just to top dress urea, 500 kilograms per hectare at V6, V7. Do you ever think about top dressing, and have you ever tried it? Yeah, not with urea. There are guys that spread urea pre-plant and work it in, but I would not consider spreading urea on top of the ground and leaving it sit there. It'll volatilize and we'll lose it, unless it's raining when you're applying it, basically. Urea is extremely volatile, and the sun beating on it, it just kind of goes poof and disappears as nitrogen gas in the atmosphere. And that doesn't work for corn. Anhydrous is actually cheaper than urea, usually, and so it doesn't do us a lot of good. The application cost, I guess, would be lower, but you also have spread pattern concerns. Some guys will use urea to top dress wheat, and you can always tell when they do that because the spread pattern is terrible and it's streaky. You get a bunch of dark green streaks and then light yellow streaks where they didn't get enough applied. So what may happen in the future, whether by choice or because we can't get anhydrous anymore, would be a switch to liquid using 28. We have a couple customers in Britain, Dundee area that love this highway. I don't think it's a bad product. I think that it does work and is effective. It's just too difficult of an application and product to use for me on a large scale. So I don't know. It's the thing about it is that I'm trying to do it to save myself myself time and hassle, right? Like, the idea is that I'm using it to replace my V5, V6 fungicide that I'm going to spray with the sprayer. So where I put Xyway, I won't do that because I don't need to. And so I need it to be hassle-free, easy to use, and not a pain in the butt if I'm trying to use it to do that kind of stuff, because I can run the sprayer and spray a generic Quadris a whole lot cheaper than I can put Xyway on. Like, I'm paying a premium, double, for this fungicide application because I can do it with my planter instead of having to make a special trip with the sprayer. But if it's a hassle to do that, it's not worth it. I'll just use the sprayer. It's crazy how much your boys know about farming at such a young age. The farm has a bright future. Yeah, I mean, when it's what you grow up with and you're exposed to, and like, yeah, you pick it up. I was the same way. Now, I fully expect at some point my boys both are going to say that, you know, they're not coming back here. They don't want anything to do with the farm. At least that was my path when I was really young and like them. Farm toys, all that. It's like my age, I didn't want anything to do with it. To it in high school, so that's fine. If they end up here, they do. If not, they don't. That's okay. Is there not a great way of getting all the fertilizer on in advance of planting instead of doing this? Well, yeah, we could put it on early, right? We could, before we plant, we could do anhydrous pre-plant. But I like putting it on as close to when the plant is going to need it as possible. Nitrogen is a leachable, it's a mobile nutrient, and so it's not something that's just going to stick around in our soil until the plants use it. It's going to move with the water in the soil. And so I don't want to put it on way ahead of time because that wouldn't be there when the corn needs it. The later into the growing season that I can put the nitrogen, the better, within reason. I mean, you have to have enough there for it to go through its rapid growth stages here in June. But a lot of nitrogen gets used post-tassel or at tassel to grain fill time. So that's why I need it there, and I need to make sure it's there. And I think that putting it on now, the middle to end of May, gives me a higher likelihood of it being there than putting it on the middle of April, and especially putting it on in October, November time frame. I don't know. That's my theory. So, yes, it could all be done pre-plant ahead of time, but there's major advantages to doing it now. And the sulfur is another one that it moves with water, and you need that with the nitrogen as much as possible. And so, in-season fertilizer applications tend to be things that are need to be readily available to the plant that make them so the plant can take it up really easily and be more efficient with them. It's closer to Bait Farm, Banded Farmer. I don't know either one of those. It's your next door neighbor from Perrysburg. Farming. Thank you. Any more candy corn this year? Very little. So I had, I think, 5 or 6 carryover bags of the 03B96, the candy corn variety. It's got a real good green quality there. So we did plant it. I know where it is. Some of it was planted early. Some of it was planted in the very last field there. But yeah, so we're going to have just a tiny little bit of it. That hybrid is being discontinued from Golden Harvest. Too many standability issues. The yield was fine, the grain quality was phenomenal, but if it's laying flat on the ground, that doesn't work. Are you looking at getting another deer sprayer? Haggies are super nice. I am heavily leaning towards a Haggie. As much as we are spraying tasseled corn now and the potential to wide drop stuff, like, that only makes sense to have a sprayer that's capable of doing that. So, yeah, that's definitely the heavy lean. Now, there are a few other options. Miller makes a high clearance front mount boom sprayer. New Holland is basically the same thing, painted blue. There's Oxbow that makes one. And then I believe maybe like a Fent has a high clearance rear mount boom sprayer that you can use. There are other options. Deere is kind of You know, obviously we run a lot of green equipment. Haggies are owned by Deere. It's the same technology. It's stuff that I'm familiar with and know how to use. That said, they're stupid expensive and not available. There aren't any for sale. So, I don't know. We'll see what we end up with. I think I missed it. What is your solution to the splashing problem on your planter? Yeah, so that splashing on the planter, you know, it's we're getting some of the in-furrow fertilizer on the inside of the closing wheels. It's coming out of that nozzle, the in-furrow nozzle there, and there are a couple of different options that we can replace that in-furrow nozzle with something different that would place the fertilizer better. The first option would be like a seat firmer that we had on the old planter, but we don't on this one. We could add those. They can come with a tube that comes right off the top with a little nozzle that drops the fertilizer right in on top of the seed. Would be much lower into the seed trench and therefore should not splash because of that. The other option would be a furrow jet. Precision Planting makes they call furrow jet. It's kind of like a seed firmer, except for it rides just above the seed and it's got a wing that cuts into the sidewall of the seed trench and places the fertilizer like 3/4 of an inch off the seed there. That would be something else that we could look at. That would probably be my first choice. That way isn't going to solve my rock issue with the closing wheels, and they're pretty expensive. The Keaton would solve the rock issue, and they're much cheaper. How much of an advantage is the placement that furrow jets offer? I don't know. I don't know. Most farmers don't get to know the depth of things you do. Maybe your hair still. Yeah, I mean, the things that I know and that we talk about out here, I feel like most people do know them. I walk a lot of fields. I go to a lot of meetings. I do a lot of experiments, and I try and learn stuff and pick up on things. You know, none of it's really that hard. It's just you have to think about it a little bit and understand some stuff and take the time to educate yourself. So, but yeah, thank you. Using NServe. No, we're not using NServe. I've done a lot of trials over the last 3 or 4 years with using stabilizers. They rarely pay for us. That and the fact that nitrogen is cheap again. It's hard to spend a bunch of money on a stabilizer when we can put an extra 10 pounds of nitrogen out there and do the same thing cheaper. Not that I'm doing that, but why not cut a huge hole in the top of the highway jug and then mix it with a drill and a paint mixer when you dump it on the tank? Because I don't have time for that. I have heard that people were doing that, mixing it up with a paint mixer on a drill, and then it was working fine. But I don't have time for that when I'm loading the planter, and it's just too much hassle. I'm not doing it. Hello from California. I always see your videos. You're the best. I'm glad you always see my videos. Thanks for watching. Can you show the AutoPath screen? Does it work okay side dressing planting? Yeah, I'm not using AutoPath, so no, I can't. I haven't been able to make it work side dressing. It worked when we were doing that replant on Monday there the other day, but something with the fact that I'm 37.5 foot wide with the side dress bar versus the 60 foot for the planter, I cannot make them match up. And the shift track button doesn't work. Like I don't know how to get it lined up, because I can get it like the first pass on the side of the field to work right, and then the second one will be really close, and then the third one is 5 or 10 feet off, and it won't let me shift it and put it where I need it to be. So I just shut it off, and we're just using the RTK and using the same guidance lines that we used when we planted, and it's working just fine. Which is a bummer. I was really hoping that would. I've tried calling my Deere salesman or AMS guy, but he has not gotten back to me yet. Is there any value or reason to run an implement receiver on your side dress bar like the planter? I don't think so. So it's the same AutoPath thing, right? The difference between our planter and the side dress bar is that the side dress bar is semi-mounted, meaning it is 2-point attached to the planter, and it cannot move independent from the planter. There's no pivot point. right? The planter, while it's a 2-point attach, it has a pivot point, and the row units can move in relation to the tractor. The anhydrous bar does not. It is very fixed. When I turn, it moves, and there are caster wheels to allow that. So a GPS receiver would not fluctuate where it is in relation to the GPS receiver on the tractor, at the top of the cab, and therefore it would not give you any data that we don't already know. At least that's my understanding of it. I don't, maybe Deer AMS guy would tell me otherwise, but I don't think there's any advantage to it. Do you know that Kim and Donna Baker, they have a dairy farm in Clayton? Yeah, I'm familiar with them. I don't know them real well. Yeah, and I know Blaine Baker up there too. Kind of. I don't really know those guys, but yeah. In your area, what percent of farmers are 67-year-old farmers without kids who want to take over the farm? Are there many younger people wanting to be farmers? That's a hard question to answer. There are some of those older farmers with kids that are not interested. I wouldn't say no kids, but just kids that are not interested. Either their farms are not big enough to support that. They may only farm 2, 3, 5, 700 acres that you can make a living for one person, or they have a side job and they farm 2 kind of thing. So they're around, but I wouldn't say it's a huge percentage. There are young people that want to farm. Absolutely, they are everywhere. So, and I have, I'm encouraged with what I see on social media from some of the other people that post stuff on, the first gen farmers, how they've been able to get started and stuff. Like, I think it's really awesome. I'll never apologize for having the start that I have, because it's not my fault and I'm taking advantage of it. But it is really hard to start farming as a first gen if you don't have that backing to come back to. And I see a lot of people doing it, and that's awesome. Was your replant field specific to a variety, or do you think the issues were all field related? I think the biggest issue, well, there was 2 contributing factors. It is not variety, because there was 2 varieties out there and they were both bad. The biggest difference between that field and other ones is, 1, soil types and drainage. Drainage being the key one there. That field is a little bit wetter in general. So when we planted it and then we got rain, it didn't dry out as fast. It kind of cold saturated. The corn didn't grow. And 2, it was the last field planted before rain. Do you remember, you guys, if you follow me a lot, and you remember we started planting corn on the 12th of April. We planted corn the 13th of April. That was a Wednesday and a Thursday. And they were calling for cold rain on Saturday and Sunday of that week. And so we switched from planting corn to planting beans on the 14th. That would have been a Friday. That would have been the Friday. We planted beans hard on Friday, and then Phil just finished up a field on a Saturday morning. Remember that? I think. Maybe we planted Saturday. And then it was Sunday afternoon when the rain came, cold rain. Anyway, I stopped planting corn on Friday of that week because I knew that there was a cold, wet period coming. And I talked about how we need that 24 to 48 hours of warm conditions for that corn to imbibe some water before it gets cold, right? We don't want it to take in cold water. So we stopped planting them. Well, the field that we ended up having to replant was the last field that we planted on the 27th of April. It rained overnight that night. It got cold again. We had a cold rain on it less than 24 hours from planting. That's why we had to replant. I should have shut the planter down, but it was the 27th of April, and you go at that point. And so we didn't, because I thought it would warm up quick, and it didn't matter. So it wasn't a variety thing. The soil conditions did not help. It was dry when we planted, but it's wet farm that was not well tiled, with yellow clay knobs, low organic matter. Those soils crust, and then being planted too close to a cold rain. That's why. Hello from Sweden. Thank you. We do some radio work for a guy that has one of the new Haggis. I think it's beautiful. Yeah, they're awesome. Good last minute live streams. Good. Glad you're enjoying it. Thanks for joining. Zach! Hey, it's Zach. I have a set of used furrow jets we would sell. Used them on 500 acres and took off. Something to keep in mind. We need to talk some more, Zach. I want to know why you took them off. Also, are you still wide dropping for me? Because I'm planning on it. I'm counting on you. How are seed sales this year? Heck of sales. Yeah, I sold more beans than I have the last couple of years. That was really nice. Corn sales were up a tick, not a ton, but just a little bit. I had a good year on the seed front. My biggest, what do you want to say, loss? My biggest, loss was one of the guys that I custom treat for, who I used to take my treater and treat for him. He kind of quit selling seed on his own and is selling under a different dealer who has their own treater, and I lost a couple thousand units of business on the treatment side. And that hurt, but it's all right. I made up for it with some of the beans that I sold more that I, selling more myself. Oh, how are we doing here? 1,400 pounds of N left on our tank. We do another 10 acres yet? 7? Okay. We're doing all right. Howdy from DC. Always watch your content. Thank you. Just started Sidedressing today in Bowling Green. How many acres you got done today? Well, I haven't been pushing it real hard today. Let's see. Where are we at? Custom totals. Got 220 acres done total, and I did 42 yesterday. So 180 today so far. Ouch. We've been cutting hay for the last 3 weeks. Spring has been very good. 3 weeks, wow. All of the hay, not all, most of the hay around here got laid down this week because the weather's so nice. It's a week early. The hay is a little immature. It's not quite bud stage yet, but everybody's taking advantage of the weather and laying hay down. They do make a 60-foot anhydrous bar. They do, and I can't pull it. I don't have enough power. If you had an 8RX410 and a 23-row applicator, you might be able to pull it. Probably not 9-10 miles an hour, but you might be able to do it. I could not. Do you see your industry eventually moving away from anhydrous? And if so, how long before you would have to find other products? Yeah, it's already happening in certain places just from the liability aspect of handling it. It's totally dependent on the retailers in your area. We are fortunate to have at least 3, if not 4 suppliers pretty close that we could work with if we had to. One that we always do because they're the closest and easiest. So hopefully not for a while because we like anhydrous. We talked about this a little bit in today's video. You'll see tomorrow on the good and bad of it, I guess. But we'd end up having to go to 28 and doing liquid if that was going to be the case. So the problem with liquid is you got to handle so much volume. It's only 28% nitrogen. This is 82% nitrogen. So I handle a lot less nitrous than I would of 28. And that makes it. Hi from UK. I've seen all your videos. I've learned a lot. Thank you. Any new YouTube channel recommendations you found this spring? Not really. It's been all I can do to keep up with the ones I like to watch. I haven't had time to watch anything else too much. Brian and Zach are my 2 go-tos. Other than that, I catch what I can. Why are we... There we go. Sorry, I'm just reading through. A lot of these don't require me to comment. I don't know if Brock's cutting hay yet. He should be here tomorrow, so. Done any calibration runs this year, raking soil locked in? I did on the first load, right? We had them first in amount. We did like 42 acres with it. I wrote down how much anhydrous it said was on there, and I was off by 44 pounds. Yeah, that'll work. That's close enough. Out of 90, what was it, 9,800 pounds, or 8960, I think was the total weight. I was off by 44 pounds. So yeah, we're locked in real good. I'm gonna try to wide drop. That's the plan. But I've tried wide dropping in the last 2 years and ran out of time. Well, Zach, don't run out of time on me, because I've got some stuff lined up that I'm like, well, I'm not gonna put a ton of extra nitrogen on here because we're gonna wide drop it later. So yeah. We'll figure something out if we had to. Did you give up looking for a forklift? Yeah, we kind of put that on hold, I think. Just decided that we didn't want to spend 30 grand on a forklift right now. Oh, Brock is watching. He cut hay this week. Alright. Is there enough average out there for young farmers that want to start new farms? Is there enough? I don't know if there's enough. It's not easy. I'm not saying it's easy. It is definitely a hard thing to do, but it is not impossible. How much in on your NCGA plots? Right, so my NCGA plots are obviously in the best parts of the field. So they got a little over 30 pounds of N with the planter. I'm putting on 180 pounds of N side dress right now, and the plan is to come back in and side dress, or to wide drop, probably another 30 pounds of N then at least. Maybe we'll do a little more than that, 50, I don't know. We'll kind of have to make some plans. But probably would shoot for somewhere in that 250 pounds total range. Maybe I need more than that, I don't know. Opinion on Brian and Zach's new spray trailers. Seems like a lot of money for what they are. Yeah, I've noticed there are 3 big YouTubers that all got these nice new spray trailers, and that's not a coincidence. But I'm curious if or how much they had to pay for them, because those spray trailers are outrageously expensive. Like, just that quick draw system, when I was looking at one of those a year or 2 ago, just because I was curious, like, just that quick draw box, not the trailer, not the tanks, not the plumbing, any of that stuff, was like $35,000. So those are, by the time you get all that stuff on there and the cost of the trailer, those are pushing $100,000 spray tender trailers. And that just seems outrageous to me. And our issue is we don't load at the field very often. 90% of our sprayer loading is done at the farm, and so having a nice fancy trailer like that just doesn't make any sense for us. Any variations of nitrogen levels of anhydrous? No, there are no variations in the amount of nitrogen in it. It is NH3. It is 82% nitrogen by weight. Brock, you making a hay video? I should have set a camera with you, man. Do you ever hear tractor buzzers and beeping in your sleep? Have you guys heard them? I don't even notice them in the tractor anymore. I just tune them out. We've got this nitro alert monitor that's supposed to tell me the row by row flow. That thing beeps so much I just shut it off. Like, I don't care. What about a telehandler? I don't need a telehandler. What would I use a telehandler for? Yeah, Brock, am I the worst boss ever? Go right ahead and answer that. You having a barbecue get together at your farm this year? Not really. We're having my daughter's birthday party on Sunday. You are not invited. Sorry, none of you are invited. Whoa, whoa, whoa. You pull a 60-foot 2510H with an 8R 340. Like, fast or like 5 miles an hour? There's no way. There's no way. Well, all right, we're going to show you something when I turn around here. All right, look at that. Okay, this is a row 25, and we're not going slow, but we're a 15 row. 23 would be 8 more. It's more than 50% bigger. We're moving 9.3 right now. Right now, we're not using all the power, but just watch that. Watch that little power meter bar. See that? We're using everything this tractor's got to pull this, what we're doing now. And I don't have to go 9.3 miles. Go 7 and it'd be fine. But I don't. It seems like a stretch to me because I see this more than not, where it's pegged out and bouncing in the power bulge excess use category there. Like this pulls easier than the high-speed planter. I will give you that. But it's not like we're sitting on gobs of extra power. A big part of me for my phone. No, we're definitely not doing that. All right, now I got to go along the trees, and my tank's about empty. Did somebody type something bad in my comments? I hit a message. I can't see it. View message. I want to see. Won't show me. Oh well. Be good, guys. Be good. Appreciate the educational expertise of your channel. Thank you. Most farm YouTubers show this is what we're working on. Need to figure out search. Yeah, I'm not a good YouTuber. I'm well aware of that fact. Like, I could probably make this really blow up if I put some better effort in and content, better stuff. But I'm doing what I like to do. I'm having fun with it. I'm doing it how I enjoy it. And so, I don't know. This is what I like. It's fun for me. It'd be nice for it to blow up a little bit more, but it's not necessary. And I have my own unique niche there with, a little more on the educational side of stuff. Just, the why more than the how. Oh, that might be it. That's a good spot to run out. Filling in a sliver here. And I think our tanks are flowing now. Can't be much left in there. Why are you yelling? It's just turning that on and off. Alright, well, that's it. Is it bad to run it in power bulbs? No, it's not hurting the tractor. It's just using it. You don't want it to run there all day long and stress everything, but no, it's not hurting anything. Does your planter have the PTO generators or hydraulic? It is hydraulic. Hydraulic-driven power generation. Planter power generation, whatever they call it. Which I like. I like not having to worry about turning a PTO on, mounting it, and having it all separate. I have plenty of hydraulic capacity to do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's how we do it. End rows along the trees here. As far as the tanks are empty. Alright, I gotta go up and switch tanks. Just taking items. Yep. It says we have 94 pounds left. Now they vary on how much is in them to start with. So I put in what the average, and then you really gotta watch it when you get to the end to know when it's empty. And of course, I'm always in the back when that happens. 78 miles an hour. All right. How do you manage things not being done to perfection? Yeah, that's hard, isn't it? When you know how to do something properly, but you do it in the works for now way. How to find that balance? Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how to answer that because I do like to do things right, perfectly, but a lot of it has to do with time. If I have time to fix something right and do it the right way, then I do. If I don't, you band-aid it together and make things work until you can do it right later. So, yeah, I don't have a good answer for that, I guess. Enjoy your content, please not change. I have no intention of changing. Not at all. This is probably not a good spot for these, but that's okay. You guys get to watch me go change tanks now. Are you excited? I don't have a phone mount. Dang, I should have a mount, but I don't. Ah well. I'll do my best to prop you up where you can see. So we need our don't die mask. We need our don't burn your hands off gloves. Problem is, once I put the gloves on, I can't push any buttons on the phone. Try and do this ahead of time here. So, all right, let me read another question. Oh, I can push buttons. How about that? Any ideas for next Agronomy Live? So my plan is when we get to like the V5 stage, when we're starting to think about V5 fungicide, to going out and looking at some more plants, digging some roots, that kind of stuff. Stages, what I'm guessing over the summer. I probably should do one on the wheat crop as it's heading and flowering. That would be an option too. But yeah, I don't have a great plan just yet. If there's something you guys want, let me. All right, we got to find a spot for you to sit and watch. Let's see. How about right here? Gonna stay? Close enough. Safety first. We gotta close our valve. Let me open up the bleeder. The wind is blowing away from me. That's good. Now there's some valves on the top of the tank I'm gonna go and close. Now we unhook the pin. Safety chain. That's no good.
stuck. I'm gonna have to move the tractor.
We're done with that. It's after the 2 tanks. Tank that shuts them off separately. Once the one is closed, we can usually where we can unhook it or start bleeding it once the one is closed, and then I just close the other ones for safety purposes while it's transporting down the road. Close any valves you can. Too much pressure on the pin. See if we can get it out now. There it comes. Pin's breaking. Oh well. Okay, so now we're free of the empties. We'll go hook up to the next full tank, which is a big single. So there's 3 different sizes. There's the small tanks that are 1,000 gallons. There's the big tanks, big singles that are 1450s, 1,500 gallons. And then there's the doubles, which are double thousands. I like bigger ones because I don't have to change so often. And as fast as we can go, if I have small tanks, I gotta be changing them almost every half hour, 45 minutes. It's crazy how fast I can put anhydrous on. Alright, where are we at? Don't just say power bulge the way you say power. Always catch the tail end of your... Probably a little too far. We'll try that. Alright, back out we go. With gloves and a mask. That we'll put on in a minute. Love the educational nitty-gritty details. That's why I never miss an episode. Man, you guys are nice today. Thank you. What kind of music do I like? Well, so here's the thing. YouTube doesn't like music. So I've sort of stopped. Since I started making videos, I really don't listen to much music. I don't listen to the radio. I mean, I kind of like country music. I do. I'm a big Taylor Swift fan. Does that count for anything? I've been to lots of different concerts. Mostly country, not all. We'll come back to this discussion. Gloves, mask to hook up the hose. All right, we're hooked up. One thing to note, this tongue on the applicator, so now we just got to back up and get the right, back to our music discussion. So I have been to several concerts in my day, although we don't do them as much as I used to. I have been to a Taylor Swift concert. I wasn't joking. I have been to Tim McGraw, Luke Bryan, Jason Aldean, Eric Church, all good. I've been to a Nelly concert. I've been to a... We'll move on from there. So because this tank was sitting here, I left around where it was sitting. Oh, we gotta tell it we got a full tank. So this is the monitor that runs the anhydrous applicator, and it says we had 92 pounds left. We did not. 8,900 doesn't appear to be. So this tank here, 1450, weighs around 6,400 pounds. So we're going to put our new max full is 6,400. Hit full. So there's 5,248 pounds of nitrogen in that tank, roughly. And we'll get squared up. Put the bar down, turn it on, and we go. Little blue triangles means each section is on. Here's our rate, target 180, what it's actually applying. It's just taking a second to get adjusted. You'll get there, come on. 68, there we go, keep going, keep going. Usually it's faster reacting. There it goes, locks on. Gallons per minute, 28.3, we're moving 8.5 miles an hour. Okay. All right, you guys all making fun of me in the comments for liking Taylor Swift yet? My sister's going to a concert. A couple weeks, I think, in Detroit. Why don't you make Brock a moderator? Brock's never asked to be a moderator. I don't know. I don't really need a moderator. I don't have a Don't Die mask. Well, just stay away from the anhydrous, you'll be fine. Can't wait for the exploded corn video, like watching dissected corn. Yeah, that one's gotten to be a popular one every year. Or at least highly requested. I don't know if that many people actually watch it, but that will probably be in an agronomy live stream this year. Does the nitro light work any better not running the half rate or no real difference? I mean, those outside ones are still all the way up because it's not sensing them flowing anything. I'd have to unplug them to not have them show up. So, no real difference. Last year, one of these was from the same... I think that was 2 years ago that I may have run over a phone doing anhydrous. Yeah, that's happened. I think a flowering wheat agronomy live would be a great one. Plant anatomy, fungal diseases, healthy nitrogen versus skip spots. Yeah, that's a good idea. We might be able to get that done. You called the mask the COVID prevention mask. I did, and then I got like banned on YouTube for that. They demonetized my COVID prevention mask the first year when we talked about that for like 3 or 4 months, and then all of a sudden they magically were okay with it later. Like, yeah, me being controversial, right? Any interesting Mark woodworking projects currently? He's still working in his shop there on those walls that I showed a couple weeks ago or a week ago. He's been too busy to work on that stuff. We got a big project going on at Berkey this year with our barns down there. We need to put a new roof on, so that's kind of, he's been working on getting stuff around for that. Laid back country picker is nice. You have, oh man, I can't read what I'm turning. You have listened to Coulter Wall, Old Country with a Young Kid. I've never heard of it. Alright, hello from Ames, Iowa. Hello. Alright guys, we're a little over an hour into this now. You've seen me run a full tank, the whole process. I'm gonna wrap it up. What time is it? 5:42. I don't think I'm gonna finish this tonight. I might have to. How much do I have left to do? 67 acres done. There is field totals. area remaining. Oh, it doesn't know. My boundary for some reason did not load on this map. It's 140 in this field though, so we're about half done. Not quite. Yeah, I really don't want to finish this tonight, but we'll see. Farmer by me has 2,000 gallon tanks and 120 inch axles. 3 2,000 gallon tanks. Like on a 28 applicator or something? That's a lot. That's what I mean about volume though. Adam, thank you for that super chat. That's very generous, unnecessary, but much appreciated. So, alright guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again soon. Every time your auto steer makes a noise, I think it's mine fishing. Yeah, that is a problem with watching YouTube videos in a tractor cab. You're like, oh crap, who's auto steer? Who's beep? Monitor's beeping. We'll see you again for tomorrow morning's video. We'll probably do another live stream from the anhydrous applicator sometime later. This season's going to be a little drawn out because, I mean, I have corn that's not even out of the ground yet. We can't address that for a while. So, yeah, we'll see how things go. But everything is in good shape here. Pray for rain for us. We're going to need it soon. Have a great night, everybody.